Charter Local Edition with your host, John MacDonald.
Hello and welcome. I have the honor today to visit with Senator Roger Webb, who is chair of the Senate Energy and Telecommunications Committee, which is an important committee at the legislature. Welcome, Senator. Appreciate you taking some time to visit with us today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So tell me a little bit about your legislative career, the district that you represent, and a little bit about, I know this is your second session, maybe fill us in a little bit.
I represent Senate District 23, which is the western half of the Billings Heights. This is my sophomore session. Every 10 years, the state of Montana redistricts. So last session was where the 10th year came about, and I was assigned to a new Senate district.
Right.
So the Billings Heights gained, we gained a House seat, and with the addition of that House seat, we gained an additional Senate seat. So the Billings Heights has grown by 10,000 people in the last 10 years. And now we have a Senate seat in the eastern half of the Heights and the western half of the Heights, and I have the western half of the Heights.
And this is your second session representing that district as well, is that right?
Well, no. This is my first session representing that district.
Okay.
80% of the people in that district have never voted for me.
Interesting.
It was just an appointed position because I was a holdover senator.
Right.
And with the redistricting, they said, there's your district. I'm going, okay.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about being the chair of the Energy and Telecommunications. That was a very busy committee this year. A lot of issues came up. Give me some of the highlights that came out of that.
Very interesting committee. The highlight of the committee was net metering. Net metering is something that is not going away, but it's something that a lot of people don't understand.
Right, and it's something that's rather difficult for a lot of people who've never been involved in the process to even know what that is.
It's true.
Tell folks a little bit about what net metering is.
If you turn around and say you had solar panels on your home, or a wind generator, or even a small creek where you could put a hydro generator on it, you can actually produce the power that you consume within your residence or your farm or your ranch, and turn around and you sell that excess energy back to the energy company.
Right.
And primarily that's what net metering is.
Right. And Montana has sort of dabbled with this in the past, but this was a year where the legislature was really trying to wrap their arms around it and come up with some new rules.
We were trying to address the issue to where it was a workable entity for everybody. And as of right now, it has merit. You know, all of a sudden, nationwide, the big box stores, for example, the Targets and the Walmarts, these folks see an opportunity to basically embellish their entire rooftop in solar panels, and it would actually become a profit-generating feature of their business. The issue being the buyback rate that the power company has to pay for it is substantially higher than what it costs them to generate power today or buy it on the open market. So it is a subsidized entity, and that's the issue. You know, do we as Montana taxpayers want to subsidize somebody else, you know, because they put up a generator and or solar panels? Because the subsidy that the energy company is paying to these folks with their net metering projects, it's being passed on to the consumer. You know, so it's not really a win-win scenario.
It's one of those where in concept it's a very interesting thing to pursue. When you start getting into the working and the details of it, very difficult, and issues start to pop up. Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest issues we ran into as a committee was the safety aspect of it. You know, individuals that go out from the power company, how are they assured that in an outage that somebody's system is shut down?
Right.
We don't know.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing. It's the biggest eye-opener that the committee had to struggle with.
Yeah.
Because there's no guarantees. Then all of a sudden, what do? A lineman's not going to go out there in the middle of the winter because he can't be assured that that line is dead.
Right.
You know, what's it going to take? That's what we really struggled with.
And you have a very busy agenda coming up with the interim session. You serve on Children, Family, Health and Human Services interim committee.
I do. Last session, I vice chaired the Joint Appropriations Subcommittee for Health and Human Services.
What's the number one issue they're going to be looking at this session, do you think?
Oh, gosh. Senate Joint Resolution 22 is a referendum that I submitted for study, and that's guardianships, elderly guardianships. There's nothing in statute in the state of Montana right now regarding adult elderly guardianships. And I'm finding out that it's encompassing anything from Alzheimer's to dementia. It's just not being addressed. We had the great opportunity last session to address a lot of the state mental health issues. And next session and this interim, you're going to see that focus change towards the elderly concept in Montana.
Yeah. And the other committee that you serve on is the Information Technology and Planning Council.
Yes.
Also going to be very busy. What's the number one issue do you think you're going to be trying to address there?
With the recent breach, of the federal system.
The IRS?
The IRS. It's happened, and it's going to happen. And Montana is unique where we have 2 data centers within the state, one in Helena and one in Miles City. And Miles City is theoretically a backup scenario. And what we're doing is we're looking at the potential possibility of all of the state entities falling under this one roof. Right now, for example, the Public Service Commission, they're out here, they have their own little computer system. Health and Human Services, they have their own computer system because they're responsible for, Medicare, Medicaid.
Right.
So it's a totally different animal, but we're trying to look at the feasibility of combining these operations.
Right. And that issue for Montanans, obviously, about their security of their personal information is a very big issue. Yes. Well, we've been visiting today with Senator Roger Webb. Very much want to thank you for coming by and taking a little bit of time to visit with us and talk about the issues from the last session.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you, sir.
Charter Local Edition has been an exclusive presentation of Charter Communications, providing original programming.